Declutter 2023, and if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Heather, and I'm going to be giving you some fast decluttering tips. The first tip I have for you is to reframe your mind. You're going to need to come up with a new way of thinking about the objects you own. The definition of declutter is to remove any unneeded or unnecessary items from your space. So when you're looking at a room or a shelf or a drawer or a countertop and you think that it has too much on it, that's when you make the decision to declutter what needs to stay and what needs to go. Removing the items that don't belong there, that don't make sense to be there, is called decluttering. When we talk about decluttering, we're not talking about cleaning, not washing, wiping things down, vacuuming, none of that. That all would come much later once you get everything decluttered. Cleaning is going to get in your way if you're trying to do a proper and quick declutter. So you definitely want to save that till a later time. You're also going to need to decide what is a fast declutter to you. If you have a home filled to the brim with clutter, then this isn't going to be super fast. It's going to take you quite a bit of time. So keep that in mind as you're starting this process. For some people, it'll be a lot slower. For some people, it's going to be a lot faster. On a side note, if you're somebody that has just years and years of clutter, don't think that just going into the room and clearing it out and starting over is going to change the pattern. That it's not going to get filled back up, because it will, because this is a mindset change. Your mind has to be changed about how you feel about the items you own. If you have a lot of things, then it's your thought patterns and your mindset about things that's causing the clutter in the first place. So those have to be addressed and your emotions have to be dealt with before you will make lasting progress in this. Another tip is you need to make some rules to help you guide the process of doing this. It's a good idea to ask yourself questions as you're going through each item. One of those questions would be, have I used this item in the past year? And if you haven't used the item in the past year, then it's probably time to donate it and get it out of your space. Another question is, will this item help me reach my future goals and plans? And if not, then it's probably time to declutter it. Another question is, does this item have a designated home? And if it does, then it should be there. And if it doesn't, you need to give it one or declutter it. Any item that doesn't have a home or its own space in your house becomes clutter, and that's basically how this happens. That's how the whole clutter problem happens. And that's when things don't have their own home, they just land everywhere. And we have to change that mindset that that's okay, because it's not. That's always going to lead to more problems. Once clutter is there, it's going to attract more clutter. Like, everybody's home has a spot that no matter what, it just gets cluttered up. Everything lands there. In our house, that place is the coffee table. This is the current condition of my coffee table. I believe all this stuff is mine. Yep, all of this is mine. I did this. Comment below what the space is in your home that has this problem that attracts clutter. Another rule you could set is to set a number of how many of a certain item you can have. So, for example, let's say you're a body spray perfume collector like me. Let's say you have a container, and the things that you have to fit in that container. And if they don't fit in that container, you can't buy any more until you have room in that container. Or you could say, I can have 5 perfumes or body sprays. Oh, little primrose. Hi, hi. Hi. Cutie. He's so cute. So then you'd want to gather all of your perfumes or body sprays together into one area so you can look at what you've got and find the container or whatever you're going to keep them in, and only keep what's going to fit in that container. Another tip is to decide only one time. Only touch an item one time and either put it in a donate bag, a trash bag, whatever you're going to do with it. Make a final decision right then and there. And it could, because if you see it or touch it again, there's a good chance you're going to pull it back out and keep it. So go with your first instinct on it. If you think that you don't want it or you don't need it, then stick with that decision. It's just a really good idea that all of our things have a boundary and a limit of what we can have, because that's definitely going to keep the clutter down. And it is hard because we attach a lot of emotion to things, and we really shouldn't, because it doesn't make sense. They're just objects. So we have to work on changing our mindset that they're just things. They're just things. There are a million other things at the store. Like, most things aren't special, because if everything's special, then nothing's special. Another thing you can do is for the things that you want the memories of, but the item is taking up too much space, is take a picture of it. And then you've always got that picture, and you have your space back. Also, we have these fantasy selves of clothes we're going to wear, or makeup we're going to use, shoes we're going to wear, ways we're going to decorate our house, that are fantasy. Like, we get the things, and then we don't put that into use. Or we have clothes that are too small, and our fantasy self says, well, I'm going to lose the weight and get back in these. Well, for those type of items, for clothing that doesn't fit, are you currently on a diet? Have you lost any weight? Like, are you making progress toward that? If you're not, then give yourself 6 months to start making starting now. Like, start now. Use the next 6 months to work toward that goal of getting back in those clothes. And if you haven't made any progress, then there's a good chance that you're just not gonna. And that's the reality of it. But also, I think we all buy clothes because we see somebody on TV or somebody in a magazine, or we're scrolling Instagram or Facebook and we see an outfit that's super cute, and we think, well, I want to wear that too. And then we get it, we try it on, and it's just not the same. We don't wear it the same as they do. And so this would be a fantasy self outfit that you already know that when you wear it, you don't feel good. And that is exactly the type of thing that needs to be decluttered. And another thing about clothing, when we have things that don't fit, or they don't fit, or they're not comfortable, well, those clothes, it's like they're speaking to us every time we see them in the closet, and they're saying, look at me, look at the money you wasted here, look how fat you are. Like, they just have negative things to say to us. I just noticed my puppy's diaper is sitting back here. She just went to bed, and she doesn't wear it at nighttime because she doesn't potty in the bed. Even though she'll potty everywhere else, she doesn't do it there, so she doesn't have to wear one there. Other fantasy items for your fantasy self would be like craft supplies and sewing supplies. If you've had these things for years and years and you've not used them, well, there's a good chance you're not going to. So those items should be decluttered. I know how that overwhelmed my space, and I'm so glad that all that's gone. We have to think of these things as just things, because that's what they are, is just things. We've already spent the money. We're not going to get that back. Even if you try to sell it, you're not going to get what you paid for it. And if selling holds you up on getting stuff out of your house, then it's going to be better for you to donate or just trash it, because, like I said, doing things quickly is better. That's how you get things done. You got to do it quickly. You got to do what works quickly. 95% of the things that we own are not special. They're ordinary. Anybody could go buy them at the store. There's only like 5% of the things that we own that actually are special, and usually they're only special to us. Another tip: whenever you go to declutter a space, make sure you have a garbage bag, a donation bin, and it would be okay to have a, what do we call it? It would be like a maybe bin, or a wait, like you could put wait to see. Like if you just can't make a decision on something, then you put it in the wait to see box, and you give yourself 6 months. And if you don't think about that item in that 6 months, if you don't need it, if you don't think about it, then it'd be at the end of that 6 months, it'd be time to declutter it. At this point, you will have literally let time decide if you needed it or not, or if it was important to you. But either way, it's much easier to just handle the item once and deal with it once, because that's really going to speed up the process. You kind of need to make a plan of your house on how you're going to tackle decluttering it. You don't want to go from room to room just grabbing things. You want to focus on a certain room and stick to that room until you get it done. And typically the best place to start is in the kitchen, because that is the place that has the least emotion attached to the things. You only need the things in there that are functional for your use in the kitchen, not the things that are just that you have extras of. You need to clear those out. It's a good idea to handle a declutter in small chunks of time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. So you could set a timer on your phone or your kitchen timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever works for you. And then whatever you get done is done, and what's not done, well, you finish that at a different time. You don't have to overwhelm yourself doing this. Just a little by little will get it done. Having these time limits on things helps you to deal with the emotions, and you need to deal with the emotions because decluttering can be overwhelming. So when I first decluttered my home a long time ago, back in 2019, I believe, I started in the kitchen counters, and then the kitchen drawers, and then the pots and pans, and then the food. So I did the silverware, the cooking utensils, everything that was in the kitchen. I went through it all, and not in one day. But if you're decluttering and you're going around from room to room, just grabbing a thing or two from each room, well, you're not going to see the results immediately. That's going to be very discouraging. That's why it's better to pick a room and do that room so that you can see the results when you're done. That's how you build your decluttering muscles. It's really going to be a big win when you get one room completely done. I can't think of a better feeling than that, to have a decluttered space that's functional. And so the last tip that I have for today's video is that you find somebody to be accountable to. And this is what my group is for. I'm hoping that people will connect in it, and you can find a decluttering buddy that you can talk to about whatever issues you're having. You can message me, that's fine. I know that we all need help sometimes. I mean, a lot of people think this is my own mess, this is my own clutter, and I need to deal with it myself. And that is true. Some people will actually do better when they're being held accountable, when they have somebody that they can show the space to that's going to be happy with them. It's good to have your decluttering buddy give you a deadline to work on certain spaces. This way, you can't just, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later. Well, no, you need to get it done because you've got somebody that needs to see it. And then you could be the same for them and help them get their stuff done. Please hit that subscribe button and give the video a like and leave me a comment about what was your favorite thing or your favorite tip in the video. And I will see you guys next time. Another little tidbit of information I wanted to add is if you notice houses built in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, they have small closets because that was before consumerism became a big thing. They didn't have as much stuff as we do. They knew they didn't need it. People weren't selling a bunch of junk to them back then. So just something to consider.